think probably a good stopping point for me tonight will probably be whenever I pop the next trophy.
All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
I'll leave the big boy tricky stuff to you, and I'll do what I can to help on my end. Sounds good.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Come on, I don't want to keep putting the blanket
Yeah.
on me, you little...
I know firsthand just
don't
how much
understand you,
hatred
boy.
can
It's
take
hard.
hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell,
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
I hope there comes a day when mages are just like anybody else in Dana.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohly, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans, and the Great Spirit, and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, The Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Huh.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff, like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Oh, we don't get to talk to Gisara for something for a second there?
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's Great Spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
Okay, I know I'm interrupting something important, but again, what the fuck is with Reddit, and why does every time it knows exactly what I'm playing? Like, bro, I was playing Scarlet Nexus. I was getting Scarlet Nexus stuff in Reddit. I go to play Sword Art with Zack, and then over time, Sword Art stuff pops in there. Now I'm getting Tales of Arise stuff popping up in my Reddit? Man, that's creepy. I swear, when I play Yakuza 7, which is going to be next after this, I know, that's going to sound weird. I'll talk all about why I'm playing Yakuza 7 next, when I still haven't played 5, 0, and 2. But we'll talk about that later. But that's starting next. I swear if Reddit gives me some messages about that next.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is.
I guess I just cut off someone's dialogue.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Rena Alma stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Where'd that come from?
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Right.
Yep, cut off someone's dialogue completely. And I don't even know who it was. Anyway, back to the central level. The upper level just won't be important at all.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Rena Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Rena Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
Oh, she'll be
This
fine. They're not
method
gonna
is the
kill her.
most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Oh, just why do it?
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Is it too much to ask for Havrek
the
35 to
truth.
talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that complicated stuff.
Don't worry. I think we're mostly done with him. Now all we have to do is rest up and wait. Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. But with the amount of energy we're talking about here...
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrect 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
Are you just going to keep standing around or what?
Sorry,
we're
I'm
doing a
just getting
scene.
prepped over here.
This is probably now where we head up to the upper section. Or talk to this chick, whoever you are. It'll take some time to completely repair your starship. I suggest you all get some rest in the interim. Whatever that is. I mean, what else can I do? I need to be able to return to the other planets and stuff. Other planets? There's just one planet in Lenegus.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegus when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegus proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come down.